Hello, welcome to my first match of Season 48, playing JNails. I am Shanahan. I'm going to try to record and post to YouTube all of my matches this season. Let's take a look at what we've got going on here. Stockpiles for some early money. Scrying pools, your draw. There's King's Court. If you can build an engine with King's Court, it's going to be very, very powerful. You can do stuff with Skulk. We've got this Baker token, so we've got 8 money to spend. Either 5 and 3 or 4 and 4. Although something like Potion Stockpile doesn't seem unreasonable. The stockpiles vanish from the deck after a couple of shuffles, so the scrying pools would be better then. So the idea would be you get a scrying pool, you get some stockpile along the way, you pick up some various other actions, try to get to a King's Court. You got plus buy with Monkey. Also like playing Band of Misfits as a Skulk. And potentially you buy a Skulk for money. Uncertain. They took a stockpile. I think the only question is if I want to take a Band of Misfits instead of a potion. But I'm pretty sure I just want to take a potion here. Potion stockpile. The draw seems like it's really good. We'll see if they follow suit or if they go double stockpile or some other line. Rogue and Band of Misfits just feel too early. They're both potentially decent cards. Especially with King's Court, you can do a lot of stuff with some of those, but it just seems too early. So they're getting a stockpile and a merchant. I'm just gonna get one stockpile. My potion has missed. I have no actions in the deck, so King's Court feels a bit premature. I'm gonna grab a Mountain Village. Potentially I can do some stuff with Mountain Village, like to grab the scrying pool back or something. Does not look like that's going to happen this shuffle. I've got 7 potion or 6 potion plus the draw. Definitely going to buy a scrying pool this turn. It could be like scrying pool, Band of Misfits. Band of Misfits I can play as Skulk or Mountain Village. I'm already a bit behind as second player. And my potion missing the shuffle makes that even worse. The stockpiles will run very, very quickly, it looks like. It looks like those are going to run out by the third shuffle. So I can cycle and use a coffer. I think I'm just going to play this way. And get a scrying pool and a Band of Misfits. Yeah, I've got 3 actions now, so I could, in theory, grab... How many estates did I see last turn? I could, in theory, grab my King's Court now. And buy the stockpiles back next turn. The Mountain Village of the Band of Misfits should enable me a little bit more likelihood to collide the King's Court. Often in a King's Court game, the first person to play King's Court on King's Court and then triple 3 actions is going to win. That seems possible here because you can get lots and lots of draw with your scrying pools, get attacking with a Skulk, and then buy 3 or 4 things, empty out the stockpiles, that kind of setup. So all my stockpiles are on the mat, but I have enough money down there to buy. So I think I'm going to get a King's Court into this shuffle and hope I can collide it. And if they were to trigger a shuffle for me without my stockpiles, but I've got a lot of action density in there, so I'm not 100% sure on if I should have put all these stockpiles into the shuffle, but hopefully their scrying pool does not reveal lots of good stuff. I played JNails last season. I won 1, tied 1, and lost 4. I thought luck was a little bit against me that game, but at least the game we tied, I could have actually done better if I'd started greening the turn sooner. I would have won that, I think, outright, so I didn't play perfectly, so I don't have a lot to complain about. Here I'll grab a King's Court, hopefully have a Mountain Village and be able to grab it back out of my shuffle. So this is what I was hoping to see, the King's Court without any actions. Discard. top deck. All right, so I do have a King's Court and a Mountain Village down there. So I will take my own another Scrying Pool, and I guess I will take the Merchant just as a cantrip that can be King's Courted. Potentially they'll trigger a shuffle for me this turn, so the Mountain Village won't work, but we'll see. If they don't top deck it, I can King's Court the Mountain Village and take King's Court and Scrying Pool. Then I can King's Court the Scrying Pool. Or I can actually Mountain Village. I can Mountain Village the King's Court and King's Court, Band of Misfits as yeah, that seems like a mistake to me, because I can Mountain Village, take the King's Court, King's Court, King's Court. This seems like a mistake to me. So King's Court, Band of Misfits. Take a Scrying Pool. Take a Scrying Pool, and I guess I'll take this Merchant. Decent chance of drawing the Merchant, so I'll take the Stockpile, I guess. So discard top deck. Discard top deck. I do want to draw that. And play discard top deck. And if I did that right, that worked out quite well for me that turn. So I guess I'm going to get one more stockpile just so I have econ in my deck. The alternative is just not to do that and just switch over to tons of action plays. So this is 12 money. I could go like Scrying Pool, King's Court, Silver, where I'm looking to like triple play the Merchant or get my money from the Merchants. So that would be one line. The other line is just like King's Court, Stockpile, Scrying Pool, and one kind of dirty shuffle coming through. It's kind of it's an extra 5 stop cards in my deck, but it's a lot of money. I think it's worth it to get the action density up and the reliability, and especially a second player here. And just take the 1 silver. Not a great start for this hand with 6, but hopefully I see a bunch of stuff in my next hand. I've got basically 7 coppers, 3 estates, and the silver. I've got 11 stop cards and 21. And I happen to draw 5 of them, which seems pretty unlikely. This could be a fleet turn for me. It could also be like a stockpile if there's still stockpiles left, because with the multiple 3 King's Courts down there, I have decent draw, so there's like a pretty good chance I'll be able to draw stockpiles if they're still left. They may take the last 2 here. And then I'll just take a fleet, I think. Get that out of the way. The other card I could take would be Band of Misfits, or like a Baker. Baker's decent for King's Courting. All right, so we'll grab the stockpiles now. Wowzers. So I had 11 stop cards in my deck, and 9 of them are in the top 10 cards, if I'm counting this right. Which seems pretty remarkable. Hopefully I top deck 1 more stop card. I do. So all 11 are in the top 12, is that right? I have 3 King's Courts, 3 Scrying Pools. I have a Potion, which is a stop card. A Band, a Workers' Village down there. Wow. We'll go ahead and say this was a pretty bad shuffle. I like went out of my way not to add the extra stop cards to my deck. So now hopefully they have a bad shuffle coming up, because this is just 2 complete dead turns for me. Again, pretty decently, I'll be able to King's Court next turn and do some good stuff, but likely their scrying pools are going to hit me next turn. They've got a mountain village to grab, but I think that's most of their scrying pools. This was a really bad shuffle here. Yep, so I'm going to grab a silver and just go ahead and get a merchant, I think. Oh, I can get a stockpile, but stockpile doesn't do anything, right? Just gets me to 4, and 4 is not a number I want. Okay, hopefully they don't like play a King's Court of Scrying Pool and discard a bunch of my good cards here, because I'd really like to be able to play this Scrying Pool and draw like the rest of my deck, and then King's Court, a bunch of good cards. All right, there's one Scrying Pool. There's a King's Court. There's my potion. Okay. So I know I have one more King's Court down there. Unless they've discarded it. I don't think they have. So if I play the Scrying Pool, I can discard the potion, draw 2, including a King's Court. I think I have a merchant down there as well. So I'll draw at least 2. Then I'll King the next Scrying Pool, and we'll see where we go from there. I do have the 3rd King's Court, which is nice. You do have to start to worry about piles in this kingdom. Although I guess it's pretty tough to empty the Scrying Pool. Yeah, they're just having a full turn. What are the bottom 2 cards of my deck? King's Court. Well, they discarded my merchant. They discarded a King's Court. Pretty sure I have a King's Court down there. Yeah, so this is a lot of money for them. It's all their 3 stockpiles. So it's going to be tough for them to achieve quite this much money next turn. But I guess with 3 King's Courts and 3 merchants, maybe they get there. With how bad that this shuffle is, I have to hope that they dud. Or I can find some kind of pile out on my turn. Just not really seeing how to access a third pile here. 3 merchants and 8 estates or something requires 11 gains, which is quite a few more than what I can do. Even with monkey King's Court stuff. Yeah, so I've basically had to pass 2 turns in a row here. While their deck is spinning. They had this sad turn 9, but I don't know if that evens out. I don't think it does. There's no way for me to get another potion. Like, well, I mean, I have 5 stockpiles, so 5 stockpiles is 15 money. 6 buys. So I just need to get 9. I'd need to get 20, 16, 25 money and 11 buys. And with all the stockpiles, I'm at 16 money and 5 buys. You just need to get 9 money. And the money comes from coppers. I mean, that's 22 money just with the coppers and the stockpiles. 24 with the merchant. Okay, they're going to get fleet. So yeah, I would have to get fleet as well. Yeah, I just have to hope they somehow dud in a deck where they've thinned all their cards and added a ton more actions. All right, so I'm definitely going to play a King's Court here. Yeah, king, king, king. This is my first King's Court, right? So I've got lots more plays coming up. So I'm going to king scrying pool. All right, so now I can play this merchant and draw 3 more cards. How many cards have I discarded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards discarded. Okay. All right, so this should be able to draw through. I get to play. So I can play this merchant now 3 times, and then this does kind of trigger a bad shuffle. So maybe I don't want to trigger this shuffle here, and I'll just play the mountain village 3 times and grab the stockpiles. All right, so it's 15, 22 potion. I don't really want to touch the scrying pool. So I can play this Band of Misfits as Skulk. Potentially, there's some real good hits, right? So what's a good hit? The boon, the Envious, Diluted is the one that I'm interested in hitting. If I can hit them with Diluted, they can't buy actions, and that makes pile outs real difficult. So this is 22 potion. I'm certainly going to buy like Scrying Pool, King's Court, Fleet. That's 14, maybe Province. She got 25 with the merchant in play. And I'll play this merchant 3 times. So I could potentially buy another merchant myself or like a mountain village. Haunting does not do very much, especially with scrying pools. If they don't have a scrying pool, then that is a little bit more difficult for them to do. So I'm not sure. This has been a long turn leading up to that, so they may have stepped away if I'm reading in this timing tell. If they don't actually have a that's a really nice thing to hit. Should I just go ahead and give them a third one, or is that one so good? I think I'm just gonna leave. Well, if they have a mountain village in hand or a Band of Misfits, then they can do stuff. But I think I'm happy to leave them with 2. I don't want to hit like War, and that'll trigger a bad shuffle and remove the coppers. All right, so this is 27. So Fleet Scrying Pool is 7. So Fleet Scrying Pool. King's Court is 24. Is 7, 14, 22, and then 27 would be the last Band of Misfits, I guess. Okay. Province, just another band. Yikes. So again, I've got 12 stop cards in 26, and I top decked and I top decked 4 of them. Okay, well, this is probably a loss now. Not clean shuffle, not top decking in my good stuff. They did have more merchants in their deck, and I think they had 1 more scrying pool. Since I didn't get to buy a scrying pool on turn 3 or 4, but this one feels just absolutely lost. They do have to somewhat play around me having a full turn here. So they can't like lower the piles that much, but they can score some and lower some. And then when I have a complete dud, they can then just win the next turn pretty easily. See, I would expect with 4 scrying pools, 4 King's Courts, 2 Band of Misfits, and Mountain Village. If I have any one of those like 11 cards in my hand, I've got a pretty decent chance. And last shuffle, I did not see any of those until 12 cards into the shuffle. And the shovel, I did have 1 scrying pool that they knocked away, and then a copper on top. If this merchant was a Mountain Village, for example, I could grab the scrying pool, discard the copper, and maybe get lucky. But as is, I can just play the merchant to draw. We don't have any stockpiles left, but they're King's Courting like merchants somewhat. Maybe they're not King's Courting merchants that much. King's Courting bakers, King's Courting scrying pools. So they're not actually going to hit that much money. Maybe I should have played Skulk again and tried to hit. I just thought that leaving 2 coppers on top seems like the best world. They must have had King's Court scrying pool in hand already. Yeah, at the beginning there. So I could have played Skulk again. If I hit the silver, then that completely wrecks their payload. The same is true of my deck. If they hit my silver, it completely wrecks my payload because my merchants get turned off. But I think knowing what I did, I'm happy leaving the 2 coppers on top in case they only had 1 scrying pool in hand. And a hand like I have right here, scrying pool 3 coppers estate. If they played a scrying pool, then they would have a dud. Here, I guess I'm going to grab a Skulk. Like the Mountain Village, I have 2 Band of Misfits in a Mountain Village, and it's in my discard pile, so it's really tough for me to draw through to. But the gold might be nice, and having the attack could possibly be nice, I'm not sure. Yeah, even if they know I have a dud, they can't just... I guess if they know I have the hand that I have, they could buy a scrying pool and 2 merchants. No, because then I buy a merchant, and then it's sort of, if they have a dud, they lose. So they kind of have to buy a province here, I would think. Something like Province, King's Court, the last scrying pool. They're tied, and they can feel like their deck is in better shape than mine. I don't know what these 4 cards are. I'm assuming the 2 cards in hand are estates, so there's at least 1, possibly a copper in there. Not completely sure. I think they have another merchant. I know they have a mountain. I think they have 1 more Mountain Village and 1 band, so there must be Mountain Village and band in that 4. Although those are not good cards to have in your top 4, certainly. I wonder if you could have played that Mountain Village twice more to draw one of these cards. So the problem with that is that those cards are, the Mountain Village and the band are useless at the top of the shuffle, basically. Which we saw for me a couple turns ago. That happened. Okay. And I decided I wanted to buy a Skulk. Okay, this should kick off. I've already seen most of my stop cards. And there's a decent chance that they don't draw here. Fingers crossed. Okay, they found a King's Court. I don't know why that took so long. It felt like it took forever for them to click on that, but I'm sure it was just the I'm sure it was just server lag. Like there are many draws they have there where they don't kick off there. That they have to top deck a bunch of actions in a row. I think none of those King's Courts or the Scrying Pool. Those were all three drawn off of these 3 draws. So if they had Estates and Coppers like I have had at the top of my shuffles. I'm gonna start by Mountain Villaging for King's Court and then King's Court in the Scrying Pool. Obviously, you don't get the King's Court, but that's interesting. They top decked my Band of Misfits. Are they gonna play Skulk and hope to trash it? I don't really know. Okay. See, we got a lot of spectators today. 22 spectators. And oh, they played a rogue. Okay, that was why they left. I did not realize the rogue was being played 3 times. I guess I could have figured that out by the indentation. I don't know that it mattered. The second Band of Misfits I bought could have been a rogue, I suppose. I'm still in really bad shape because I've basically passed 4 turns. All my King's Courts are in my discard pile. That's really bad. Perhaps I can draw some Mountain Villagers or Band of Misfits or something. Yeah, if they'd given me War first, I guess I could have. They would have only been able to trash one of my cards because Rogue would have gained the Skulk out of the trash, which they can still do next turn. But and at least the War didn't like leave nothing, leave me an empty discard pile. That would have been very upsetting. Okay, they're 25. Wowzers. Yeah, there's like no way I can produce that much money on my turn. The only way for me to win is them to have a dud as bad as the dud I had last turn. I think for them, Triple Province feels pretty safe in terms of they could also go like Double Province, Triple Merchant. That forces me to end the game, and that gives them 2 turns, and I only have 1 turn. That costs 25. That line feels pretty appealing. It does add a couple of stop cards, but you know they've not had any problem drawing. I assume now that they've clicked this, they must want to buy 2 provinces because that line makes the most sense. I forgot that Fleet was in the kingdom. I guess also could make sense. Okay. This is really quite sad. I just don't see how I'm going to be able to get my King's Court on King's Court. I guess I have another Band of Misfits, right? Okay. So King's Court band. Grab the 2 King's Courts out of the trash. This is just not going to be close to winning unless they... And there are 9 cards in the trash, and I will play one of them as Skulk, just to see what happens. Okay. Monkey, monkey, monkey. That's sad. I can't even take a points lead. Okay, well. That was their first player, so I lost the first one. Pretty rough shuffles for me, I think. So see if I can do better in the second one.